Imagine you walk through a pair of heavy glass doors. The noise hits you first. Machines clink and flash. People cheer around roulette tables. Stacks of chips change hands in seconds. It feels like a place where fortunes are made. But behind the lights, there's a truth most people miss. Casinos aren't just games of chance. They're billion-dollar businesses built on knowing how your brain works. Over 80% of people walk out poorer than they walked in. Only a tiny group knows how to win, or at least how to lose less. But here's the real question. What if the secrets of those pros could help you make better decisions with your money, your work, and your life? What if avoiding the same mental traps could protect your savings, your career, and your peace of mind? Because the same traps that cost people money in casinos show up everywhere. In your investments, in your job, even in your relationships. This is the Passive Path. I'm here to help you keep your money and your mind safe. I'm here to show you how pros think differently and how you can use their methods to protect your wealth and grow it over time. Stick around, because what you're about to learn goes far beyond flashing lights and poker chips. It could change the way you look at every dollar. Welcome to the Passive Path. This isn't a place to learn how to beat casinos. It's a place to learn how to beat the traps your own mind sets for you. Casinos build billion-dollar empires because people fall into patterns they don't even see. They chase losses, they believe they're special, they think they can predict what's random. These same traps show up outside the casino walls, in the stock market, in your job, even in your personal life. Overconfidence can drain your savings. Chasing losses can bury you in debt. Believing you're due for a win can blind you to reality. Professionals who make money at the tables know one thing. Control your mind. Control your money. They don't get emotional over losses. They walk away when limits are hit. They know the math and stick to it. And most importantly, they know the house always has an edge. That's the truth most people miss. The casino isn't the enemy. Your own think. Once you see these traps, you can avoid them. Once you think like the pros, you can make smarter choices. With money, with work, with life. Today on the Passive Path, we're going deep into how the mind tricks you and how to stay one step ahead. If you want to keep more money in your pocket and sleep better at night, keep watching, like this video. Subscribe to the Passive Path and leave a comment with your thoughts. Let's get into the first set of traps that cost. Let's talk about the first trap, the illusion of personal luck. Picture this. A man steps into a casino. He sees someone at the roulette table win a pile of chips. Lights flash. People clap. He thinks, that could be me. He believes he's the exception, the lucky one. This is overconfidence. It happens everywhere, not just in gambling. Look at investing. A new investor buys stocks during a market boom. He thinks he's smarter than Wall Street. He believes he has a gift. Then the market drops, and he's stuck holding stocks worth half what he paid. Overconfidence cost him thousands. People often think their odds are better than they really are. A study showed that over 60% of drivers believe they're safer than average. That's impossible. Half of people are below average by definition, yet nearly everyone thinks they're special. In casinos, overconfidence makes you bet more than you should. It makes you ignore facts, because you believe your luck or skill will save you. Here's another example. A friend says he can predict the next coin toss. Heads, he says, 5 times in a row. He wins twice. He starts betting big. Then he loses everything. Overconfidence is a killer. It whispers that you're smarter than the odds, but the odds don't care who you are. Next time you feel certain you can beat the system, ask yourself, where's the proof? Are you looking at real data or just riding a feeling? On the Passive Path, we look for facts, not feelings. Because facts protect. Now let's look at another trap. The sunk cost fallacy. You've heard this one before. Throwing good money after bad. Picture someone in a casino. He loses $500 at blackjack. He's angry. He tells himself he has to win it back. So he bets even more. Then he loses again and again, until he walks out broke. The same thing happens outside casinos. A person buys a concert ticket for $200. On the night of the show, he feels sick, but he goes anyway. He says he doesn't want the ticket to go to waste. Yet the money is already spent. By going, he makes himself miserable. He'd be better off staying home, but he's trapped by sunk costs. This happens in investing too. Someone buys a stock at $100. Now it's dropped to 60. They say they'll wait for it to go back up. They can't stand the thought of selling at a loss, but sometimes the company is failing. Holding on. If I didn't own this thing, would I buy it today? If the answer is no, it's time to move on. Money spent is gone. It shouldn't control what you do next. People stay in jobs they hate because they've been there 10 years. They stay in bad relationships because they've already invested time. They keep old hobbies they don't enjoy because of the money spent on equipment. These are all sunk costs. On the passive path, we cut our losses. We make new decisions based on new facts. Not on what we've already spent. Letting go isn't losing. Here's another trap. The gambler's fallacy. Imagine a roulette wheel spins red 5 times in a row. People gather around. They say black is due. They bet big on black. But the wheel spins red again. And they lose. Each spin is separate. The wheel doesn't remember the past. Yet people believe patterns must even out. This happens outside casinos too. A person flips a coin. Heads comes up 4 times. He bets everything on tails next. He thinks tails has to happen, but it doesn't. It's still 50-50. Think about sports fans. A basketball player misses 10 shots. Fans shout he's bound to make the next one. But sometimes he misses the 11th. Random events don't balance out just because we want them to. The same trap appears in investing. A stock drops for weeks. Investors say it must bounce back, but sometimes it keeps falling. Believing something is due can cost you money. It makes you bet more. It makes you ignore facts. Ask yourself, or just the feeling that luck has to change? On the passive path, we trust math, not wishful thinking. Let's talk about another mental trap, the illusion of control. People love to feel in charge. In casinos, they blow on dice. They tap the table 3 times before a card is dealt. They wear a lucky shirt. They believe these things change the outcome, but they don't. The games are random. No ritual changes the odds. This illusion happens outside casinos too. Think about lottery tickets. Someone always picks special numbers, birthdays, anniversaries. They believe it increases their chances, but the odds stay the same, 1 in millions. Look at business meetings. A person wears the same tie to every big presentation. He believes it brings success, but it's his preparation, not his tie, that matters. Investors fall into this trap. They think reading the news every hour gives them control over the market. They trade more often. They lose money in fees and bad timing, because the market doesn't care how often you check your phone. Lights flashed randomly. Many believed pressing the button caused the lights. It didn't. It was pure chance. Yet people felt in control. The illusion of control makes us overconfident. It leads to bigger risks. It makes us believe we can force things our way. On the passive path, we respect what we can't control. We focus on what we can, like saving, like choosing low-cost investments, like sticking to plans. Now let's look at one more trap. Selective memory. People remember their wins. They forget their losses. A man talks about winning $500 at poker. He forgets losing $1,000 the week before. This happens everywhere, not just in casinos. A person brags about buying Tesla stock at $50. They don't mention selling it too early, or buying another stock that went to zero. Selective memory makes people believe they're more successful than they are. It builds false confidence. It hides the truth. Think about vacations. People post photos of sunsets and beaches. They forget the lost luggage, the bad hotel food, the fight at the airport. In finance, this is dangerous. Investors only remember good trades. They forget the bad ones. They believe they're geniuses. They take bigger risks. They lose more money. Selective memory can hurt relationships too. A person recalls every sweet moment. It makes them stay in unhealthy situations. Here's a test. Look at your past year. List your wins. Now list your losses. Be honest. Most people struggle with the second list. On the passive path, we face reality. All of it. Wins and losses. Because knowing the truth helps us. So how do the pros avoid these traps? They think differently. They act differently. First, they stay rational. They know luck comes and goes. They focus on the math. They don't let emotions take over. Look at the MIT blackjack team. They used card counting. They didn't bet based on gut feelings. They followed numbers. Even after losing streaks, they stuck to their system. That's what kept them ahead. In investing, smart people use the same logic. They don't panic when the market dips. They don't sell everything out of fear. They know that markets rise and fall, but over time, they trend up. One way they stay calm is dollar cost averaging. Instead of trying to time the market, they invest fixed amounts regularly. When prices drop, they buy more shares. When prices rise, they buy fewer. It smooths out the ride. It protects emotions. People who think rationally know this. A short-term loss doesn't mean the strategy is broken. A poker player folds bad hands again and again. He doesn't chase losses, he waits for good cards, and he bets only when the odds are right. It's the same with money. Wait for solid opportunities. Don't gamble on hunches. On the passive path, we trust reason over feelings. Another secret of the pros is strict money management. They never risk more than they can afford to lose. They set limits, and they stick to them. Picture a professional gambler. He walks into a casino with $1,000. That's his limit for the night. If he loses it, he leaves. No exceptions. He doesn't run to the ATM. He doesn't borrow from friends. That's discipline. Johnny Chan, a poker legend, used to carry cash only. No credit cards, no extra money to tempt him. This kept him safe from chasing losses. It's the same in life. A budget is your limit. You decide how much to spend, and you stick to it. Warren Buffett said to be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. That's smart money management. It's about knowing when to walk away. In investing, this means setting stop-loss orders, or deciding in advance how much loss you can accept, and not changing your plan in the heat of the moment. Smart investors diversify. They spread risk. They know one bad bet won't wipe them out. Money management isn't just for gamblers. It's for anyone who wants to keep their wealth. On the passive path, we protect our money first, because keeping your money is just as important. Another skill the pros master is emotional control. Casinos are built to stir up feelings, excitement, fear, hope, desperation. But the pros stay steady. Whether they win big or lose big, they keep the same calm face. This isn't luck, it's practice. Daniel Goleman wrote that emotional intelligence matters more than IQ for success. He's right, because emotions can wreck good decisions. Think about the marshmallow test. Kids were given one marshmallow. If they waited 15 minutes, they'd get 2. Some kids ate it right away. Others held out and doubled their reward. Those who waited grew up to be more successful. They learned patience. In gambling, emotions push people to chase losses. They want revenge on the casino. They bet bigger. They lose more. In investing, emotions make people panic. Stocks fall. People sell at the bottom, then miss the rebound. Staying calm is power. A trader sees red numbers on the screen. He takes a breath. He sticks to his plan. In relationships, emotions can blow up small problems. A harsh word becomes a fight. Calm people listen. They don't react instantly. They keep peace. On the passive path, we train ourselves to pause, to think. The professionals also believe in lifelong learning. They never think they know it all. They keep studying. They look for new edges. In casinos, pros learn the rules inside out. They study odds. They watch how people react. Doyle Brunson, a poker legend, didn't just play cards. He studied psychology. He wanted to know what made people tick, because poker isn't just cards, it's people. Outside casinos, learning matters just as much. Isaac Asimov said self-education is the only real education. He was right. The world changes fast. New tools, new markets, new risks. People who keep learning stay ready. Investors read annual reports. They study industries. They learn how companies make money. They don't just follow stock tips on social media. They dig for facts. Lifelong learners adapt. They don't panic when things change. They see change as a chance to grow. Think of jobs. Many careers today didn't exist 10 years ago. People who learn new skills. Even in daily life, learning helps. You might take a course on negotiation, or learn how to budget better, or read books about habits. Knowledge protects you. It keeps you from falling for scams. It helps you ask better questions. On the passive path, we keep learning, because every new skill makes you stronger. The pros also know about the house edge. They know the casino always takes a slice. That's how casinos stay in business. Every game has rules tilted slightly against the player. Roulette looks simple, but the payout for a single number is 35-1. The real odds are 37-1. That gap is the house edge. Over time, it guarantees the casino wins. Pros choose games with the smallest edge, like blackjack. They use basic strategy to lower the house advantage, sometimes to less than 0.5%. They avoid bets with terrible odds. They know math beats hope. The same rule applies in life. Banks charge fees. Credit cards charge interest. Investment funds charge expenses. These are all house edges. They chip away at your money. You might not notice small percentages, but over years they cost thousands. Pros look for low-fee investments. They avoid high-cost products. They check the fine print. Stores price items high because people don't compare. Smart shoppers look for deals. They wait for sales. They refuse to pay extra for brand names without value. Pros also know the house edge can be invisible. A store might offer a discount, then raise prices the next week. An online service might look free, but sells your data. Nothing is truly free. Someone always profits. On the passive path, we watch for the house edge, because knowing how these lessons go far beyond casinos. They apply to the stock market too. Investing is full of traps like overconfidence. People believe they can pick winning stocks. They think they're smarter than professionals. Sometimes they get lucky, but luck fades. A man buys a tech stock at $100. It drops to 60. He holds on, hoping it rebounds. But the company keeps losing money. He refuses to sell because he can't admit he was wrong. This is sunk cost. The same trap as in gambling. Smart investors ask one question. If I didn't own this stock today, would I buy it now? If the answer is no, it's time to sell. Peter Lynch, a famous fund manager, said knowing why you bought a stock matters more than the stock itself. Without a reason, it's just gambling. Emotion drives many investors. They buy when prices soar. They sell when prices drop. This locks in losses. It's the opposite of how pros think. Pros use rules. They set targets. They research companies deeply. They know earnings. They know debts. They know what could go wrong. They don't listen to random stock tips. On the passive path, we remember that investing isn't about beating the market every day. It's about building wealth over time. It's about patience. The same lessons help with personal finance decisions. Think about shopping. Someone buys a fancy blender for $300. It sits unused on the counter. They keep it because they spent the money. That's sunk cost. Letting it go feels like waste, but keeping it doesn't bring value. A smart move is to sell it or donate it. Clear the space. Move forward. Pros don't cling to old mistakes. They cut their losses. Budgeting is another tool. Pros set limits for spending. They track where money goes. They avoid impulse purchases. Dave Ramsey talks about the envelope system. Put cash in envelopes for each spending category. When the envelope is empty, spending stops. It sounds old-fashioned, but it works because it creates discipline. It keeps emotions out of spending. Another trap is lifestyle creep. People earn more, so they spend more. They upgrade cars, buy bigger houses, order expensive dinners, but their savings stay the same. They save raises, they invest bonuses, they keep living below their means because freedom matters more than showing off. On the passive path, we remember money is a tool, not a trophy. It's meant to buy time. These ideas also shape how we work. In jobs, sunk cost shows up all the time. A manager keeps a failing project alive because millions have already been spent. He fears looking bad. So he pours in more money, more time, more staff, hoping to save it. But sometimes the best move is to stop. Cut losses. Start fresh. Peter Drucker said management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. Sometimes the right thing is to walk away. Emotions cloud decisions. People stay in jobs they hate because they've been there 10 years. They're afraid to change. They fear starting over. But pros weigh facts. They ask, is this job hurting my health, my family, my future? If yes, it might be time to plan an exit. Emotional control matters in the workplace. Arguments happen. Stress rises. A leader who stays calm makes better choices. They listen. They don't react in anger. They keep teams together. This calm saves careers. Skills go out of date. Software changes. Markets shift. People who keep learning stay valuable. They get promotions. They switch to better jobs. They don't fear change. They welcome it. On the passive path, we believe your career is an investment. Treat it like money. Protect it. Grow it. Issei lessons apply to relationships too. People stay in unhealthy relationships because of time invested. They say, we've been together 5 years. I can't throw that away. But time spent doesn't mean time well spent. If a relationship brings pain, stress, or fear, staying just because of the past is sunk cost. John Gottman studied couples for decades. He found healthy relationships have at least 5 positive interactions for every negative one. If the balance flips, negativity grows, resentment builds. Sometimes leaving is healthier. It's not failure, it's choosing peace. Emotional control matters here too. Arguments happen. Words can't be unsaid. Pros pause before reacting. They listen. They pick the right moment to talk. This avoids damage that takes years to repair. In friendships, people sometimes keep ties out of habit, even when values no longer match. It's okay to move on. Growing doesn't mean cutting everyone off. The same way pros choose where to invest their money. On the passive path, we protect our time and energy. We don't stay stuck because of the same ideas even help with everyday choices. Think about shopping. A store flashes a big red sign. Limited time only. People rush to buy because they fear missing out. But pros pause. They ask, do I really need this? Is it worth the price? Sales tricks play on emotions. They make you believe you're saving money, even when you're spending more. A person buys a giant pack of snacks. It's cheaper per ounce, but it goes stale before they finish it. Money wasted. Selective memory plays a role here too. People remember the deal they got on a big TV. They forget paying for delivery, or buying an expensive warranty, or paying higher power bills to run it. The real cost is higher than the sticker price. Smart consumers check the total cost, including fees, repairs, maintenance. They avoid debt for things that don't grow in value. Another trap is keeping up appearances. People buy new cars to look successful, or designer clothes, but these things, it doesn't scream for attention. On the passive path, we spend on things that bring real value. Health, knowledge, freedom. Not just things that shine in store windows. Because financial peace feels... Let's talk about building your own passive path. It starts with emotional control. When markets fall, people panic. They sell at the bottom, then miss the recovery. Pros stay calm. They know ups and downs are normal. They don't let fear drive decisions. Patience builds wealth. Think about saving for a house. It takes years. But rushing into a mortgage you can't afford can wreck your finances. Slow and steady wins. Next is mastering money rules. Pros budget. They track every dollar. They know what comes in. They know what goes out. They set limits. They don't cross them. They keep emergency funds, so surprises don't turn into debt. In investing, pros avoid putting all their money in one place. They spread risk. Stocks, bonds, cash. They choose low-cost funds because fees eat into returns. They focus on long-term gains, not quick wins. They check facts, not hype. Relationships matter too. Pros talk openly about money with partners. They avoid secrets. Financial transparency builds trust. Arguments about money destroy relationships. Continuous self-education keeps you sharp. Read books. Listen to podcasts. Take courses. Learn about money, about habits, about human behavior. Knowledge is protection. It keeps you from falling for scams. It helps you make better decisions. On the passive path, we build wealth one choice at a time. We stay rational. We stay focused, and we protect the... Remember this, casinos don't have windows or clocks. They want you to lose track of time. They want you to stay, to keep playing. Life can be the same. Distractions everywhere. Shiny offers. Quick wins. But the cost is real. The pros teach us to stay alert, to know the rules, to respect the odds. The real enemy isn't the casino. It's the traps in our own minds. Overconfidence. Sunk cost. Chasing what's due. Thinking we have control over randomness. Selective memory. These traps steal money, time, peace. But you have power to pause, to ask questions, to look at facts, and to walk away when the game isn't worth playing. Apply this outside casinos, in money, in work, in relationships. Pros think long-term. They protect what they've built. They keep learning. They keep growing. That's how they win, not just at tables, but in life. This is the passive path. A place to learn how to build wealth without gambling your future. A place and your path steady, like this video. Subscribe to the passive path and share your thoughts in the comments, because every step you take toward knowledge and control